Good afternoon, it's Dave the Urban Survivalist. I hope you're well today. Now today, as you can see, I'm in the office and we are going to be having a look at some of my most useful prepping survival books that we have. We have a library of over 200-300 books, but I'm going to take a few examples out and give you an idea for people who are new to prepping, some good books that give you some good useful information. Let's have a look. Okay, so what I have here is like a small selection of my generic, what I call generic survival and prepper books. Okay, so that when I say generic, I mean that basically they've got like a lot of skills crammed into one book, but there's not really a lot of information on each one. Okay, let's take, for example, let's just find one of a book. How to Survive Anything Anywhere. Okay. There's lots of fishing, tracks, you know, digging up roots. There's so many different things in them. But again, good information, but you're only going to get little snippets of it. Now, this one I really like is the US Armed Forces Nuclear, Biological and Chemical Survival Manual. Wilderness Evasion, that's another good one. And if you look here, Prepper Survival Handbook. Again, first aid. No pictures in this one. Pretty much all writing. But lots of stuff saying about dried storage and stuff. Again, little bits of information that can all help new people that are into prepping. Now we're going to move on to some of my different types of books. Okay, so now we're moving on to another section. Now, again, this is a small percentage of what we got. A lot of people know we grow our own food, we preserve our own food, we go foraging. Now, these are really good things to have. Okay, so I'm going to go through these quickly. Okay, just give you a view of the titles, and you can look these up. Okay. Now, you can get the plant identification apps, but again, knowledge is better than any sort of app or book. So it's like just learning off someone who actually knows what they're doing. Now, again, this is a good one. Mushrooms and Toadstools in the UK. Because this is what I find with a lot of the books. They're kind of Americanized and for American people. And a lot of the stuff we don't have over here. So this is a really nice looking book. If I can turn it over, there you go. Lots of good pictures, how to store mushrooms and how to identify them. And again, this goes with this book and it's a good little combination. But again, we have allotment books, we have more foraging books, we have natural medicine books. And yeah, so hundreds and hundreds. But here's a few that might come in useful. So a few of my favourites here coming up. Now this is these were given to me by a guy on my group, good friend of mine. And they're really relevant to where I am at the moment. So we live on the coast and we're literally about a mile from the coast and we are about 5-6 miles from the woodland areas. So we got sea fishing, game, edible seashore and vegetable patch. Now, the veg patch we've learned a lot from and we can actually, we grow our own food, as you know. But these are from the River Cottage, Hugh Fernley Whittenstall selection. But these are really good. So these, for instance, if we take the fishing one, it not only tells you where to fish, it tells you what fish to get, what bait to use, what equipment to use, how to prepare it. Really good, and it's UK based as well, so it's like very relevant to us UK guys. And again, the same with the game. It's like teaching you what game, teaching you tracks, teaching you everything. It's really good little handbooks to have. So this is actually quite a valued part of my collection, and they're not cheap either. I looked online and they're actually quite expensive to buy, so but definitely an investment worth having. Now, at last, I'm just going to go through These are my favourite 5 books I own. Okay, and I'll tell you why. It's a mixed bag, as you can see. Right, first of all, I'm going to slow down on the titles so you can see them. The most common one, the SAS Survival Handbook. Again, you can get this in the little version. I think I bought this, there you go. $3.99 from a charity shop. It's got everything that you need in there for different environments, different foods, different animals, tracks. Again, a great book. Poisonous plants. And this is not just UK based, but it's all over the place. So this is a good example of it, because usually you get the little handbook, which I've actually got a couple of somewhere. But this hardback was actually a really nice book. And that's by Lofty Wiseman, the SSAS guy. So, yeah, that's a good one. Now, this next one, I say a mixed bag. The reason I've added this in there, and I've done a YouTube video on it before, The Dark Secrets of Shit Hits the Fan Survival by Selko Bergovic. Now, this is such a good representation of urban survival and what would happen. Because I think people live in this romantic idea of it being, you know, like you see in the films, that you're going to survive and you're going to take everything and you're going to be the hero. It doesn't always work like that. And it's like the extremities that people will go to survive. So that is a good one to have. And we're going down here. Of course, good old Ray Mears. What survivalist would you be if you didn't know who Ray Mears was? Okay, again, lots of different bits and pieces. Not all relevant, but, you know, a lot of tracks, maps, building shelters, fire, navigation, kit, tools. A good little beginner book for anyone. Now this was sent to me by a good friend in America. This is the Pocket Guide to Field Dressing, Butchering and Cooking Deer. Now, so many people nowadays don't even know where their food comes from. And if the situation happened where we would have to go and find our own food, a lot of people would struggle. It'd be okay hunting it, but what would you do after? How would you store it? How would you prepare it? How would you process it? This is like a good little book, if I can get on there, because it's like still quite... It teaches you... There you go, there's a little example. Wrapping and freezing, cooking venison, skinning, hanging, caping, butchering. Yeah, there's lots of different bits and pieces, the tools needed. But it's a good little field book. And look at the size of it. It will just fit in your backpack. So again, another good book. Now this last one... Okay, I had to get this from America because I couldn't get the hardback in the UK. You can get the paperback, which is about 17 quid. I think this was closer to £70-80 for the hardback, so not a cheap book. And again, it's still a good book, but it's kind of generic. So there's lots of little bits in there that literally will give you a snippet of little bits of information. I mean, here's an example. Where to gather wild foods, edibility test, different foods, how to dig and build your own wells like the pioneers. There's lots of stuff, you know. Rendering fat. Let's have a little example. Smoking and drying meat. Making stews, making basic breads. What else we got in here? Let's go further back. Lots of menus for like cheap food, like oatmeal pancakes and stuff. Building a smokehouse. Again, etc. Building a self-loading fire. Okay, lots of stuff in here. Edible plants, a lot. A great book. But again, Americanized. When I say Americanized, I don't mean that in a negative way. It's just the fact is, this is from the pioneers and the people that used to set up on the land. So it's like the basic old school traditional skills that a lot of us lack at the moment. So again, like I say, this is just a small selection of the literally hundreds, probably thousands of books that we have. But it just gives you an idea of some of the things that you can find useful. So there you go. So there's a few examples of some of the books we have. Some of them are really useful. Some of them will be just good on the shelf that if something did happen, you could literally use it as a reference guide. Now, a lot of these I find in second-hand shops, charity shops, cheap online. But others, like the Lost Ways and stuff like that, I've had to order online, which are not cheap. And the River Cottage I've had sent to me. But keep an eye out, because you might find something in the charity shops or anything like that. Anyway, I thought I'd share that with you. If I went through every single one of these books, it would take me days. Okay, so I've showed the titles. You can go and look them up for yourself. If you find them, good job. Anyway, I've got lots coming up. I've literally got another 4 videos in the making in a minute. So it's been emotional. I'll catch you soon. Take care.